bought the VIP $3.99 for a month thing, and I was like, yeah, like I'm getting it, like yes, but it was not a mode.
It's just straight robbery.
So let's get into it. We're going to talk about gacha games on otome games and mobile games in general, and our thoughts and stuff like that.
It kind of ties into microtransactions, which you guys know we're not a fan of, but it's different. It's like when you're paying for a chance to get something. That's basically what a gacha thing is. It's like gambling, except instead of getting money, you're just getting something of way lesser value.
Yeah, and there's several games out there that are like that are huge games. And so like Obey Me,
yeah,
Mr.
we're talking
Love.
About Mr. Love, Obey Me, Tears of Themis is a new one.
But that's one of them.
I believe they have the same thing. Even non-otome, like, but still within kind of our category, like Love Nikki.
Love Nikki, A3.
That Sanrio game.
The Sanrio game, Ayakashi, that was a Voltage game. That's
Voltage even did one.
So
how did that? We should probably play that.
Yeah,
I don't understand how that.
We'll check that out and see what the difference is between the app and then the console version of it, because it's like you would think you get the whole thing, but yeah,
I think they're starting to make it so that you can even do like microtransactions within a console game, because I heard this morning about something called Pokemon Unite, and it's also a mobile game, so I think that's kind of what happened with
I just won't do it.
I just won't. We absolutely won't do it. We hate gacha games, but everybody loves them, so it's so confusing for us.
It throws me off too, because it's like, here's what I see. Like I played Mr. Love kind of in the midst of it being like before it got like I think 2 years, so it's like a year and a half into the game was created, and I really didn't understand what it was. So the game itself is free to download. The chapters are free, you can play through, and that seems like awesome. You have these great designs, and I like all of the little elements of Mr. Love, because they go to the T.
What gets me though is like, as amazing as it all looks, I'm sitting there and I'm just wondering, okay, when can I be with somebody?
And you can't.
It's just not a thing.
At least not in the main story.
Like so that's why it's free, because it's like it's not really anything. It's literally just all these asides, in my opinion. I don't know.
They have the side elements that we're about to get into that they never ever fully say you're in a relationship. I think they have this like one side element called like our little house. That's an extra thing that also has microtransactions in it.
Yeah.
And with that, it's then you guys are similarly married, but not really. Like, I don't know. I just don't like, because there's not a linear element to the game. And the game, we'll get into it, but we'll just start off what it is. So if you are a player of Mr. Love, you know that there's the cards, the SSR. Oh yeah, Utanopri is one. Sorry.
Utanopri, Shining Live.
Yeah, that was so. What it is that you go into the game, you log in, and to play certain elements of it, there's these cards that are it. The cards sometimes can do that. They're special images that tie to the main story, but more times than not, there's more cards that do not. They have the R card, the N card, the SR card, the SSR card, and now they're coming out with like SP and ER cards. They don't even know what any of that means. But like super rare. Who knows? But the issue with it is that they say to get them is you have to spend a special like little enchantment card.
Yeah, so you have in-game currency in all of these games. Any game with microtransactions has in-game currency. So basically what you pay for is when you run out of in-game currency and you've expended all of the ways that you could possibly acquire in-game currency for free, you can buy it for like, you can drop like $200 and have like a bunch of diamonds or whatever the in-game currency is.
Yeah.
So that is what gets used for rolls in these gacha systems to get these cards. Or in some cases, it's like a photo or it's a story, like a little mini story, right? Or a call.
Like you get the card, and either the SSR card will sometimes come with a call or a text message, but it doesn't always necessarily mean both. And a lot of them tie with like, to get that call or that date, there's 3 cards that can unlock it. So you can get...
Okay, so you have to get multiple.
You can get one of the 3, but you're not getting a date for each card. You could get it. Let's say the SSR card and the SR card. If you got the SR card, you got the date, but you're not getting another date and another phone call for the SSR card. It's one or the other, usually.
So basically, once you get the date, though, you're pretty much like done, like gambling at that point, right?
Yeah, in that sense, like that's what
with that little event. And that's the thing, is they run these events sometimes for a couple weeks, sometimes for a couple months, as Mr. Love has now turned to.
Yeah, because there's scandals.
Yeah, people are not fans anymore.
Don't blame them.
But yeah, basically they put a time pressure on it. It's just like regular gambling, in my opinion, because they'll give you a few free rolls. Like they'll give you some good in-game currency, or they'll just literally give you a free roll for a card. And so it gets you like into the hype and wanting to do it. And they might have you like win easily for the first couple of times. So then you're like, okay, well, I just have to keep trying because I know I'll win. And you end up spending maybe at best $5, maybe at worst hundreds of dollars. And the thing that you're getting, the actual monetary value of it, is maybe like $2.
And that's what's an issue to me with it, because it's like, we have had comments, we've seen people that have spent like $2,000 and they still are not getting what they're asking for. And that to me is the most insane part, because you see these, like, what gets you too is that you'll see the comments people are making and they already have the photo and they want, like, you're like, I want it. And so some people are lucky, they get it within the first time. Because I have, when I was in Mr. Love, like, I don't spend, I think I've spent maybe at best $50. And
gambling, which is what this falls under, is a vice, which is why you need to be above a certain age to deal with a vice, just like cigarettes, alcohol, anything like that. It's classified that way. So for this to be accessible to any age, really, because I mean there's 13-14-year-olds that happen to have their parents' credit cards linked to the accounts and they can pay, and then there's also just adults who still struggle with it. Like, there's adults that struggle with gambling. It's a huge controversy, and lately, like, on some of the more mainstream platforms, I like to watch H3, they've been like cracking down on the fact that creators are promoting these kind of gambling games, and that is like real gambling, and it's illegal in the United States. But like to do that online in a not regulated area. And it just reminded me of this, because it feels like Gacha, it just seems like it should also be illegal. I don't know.
Because it's preying on you. Like and I don't want to just completely always stick on Mr. Love, but that's the one I'm pretty much the most familiar with. You're getting these special cards, but they don't have anything to do with the storyline. You're not getting anything additional.
But yet you need them in order to progress.
Yeah, so you know what I mean? You're playing and they have the ones that are
and like, progress to what? There's literally no ending.
And what I feel like a lot of people are not understanding, these games will not end because you're going to keep paying them for this stuff. You're not going to have... I can't even tell you what Mr. Love is even about. There's so many twists and turns, and that seems exciting because... then they're going to have more cards. What I also don't like about it is the time limit on it. Then that gets you to spend more money. And now you're
because you're like, well, the Valentine's event's going to be over in 24 hours, and I haven't gotten anything with my in-game currency, so I need to just drop a bag on, like, real money to get more in-game currency and just try for these last 24 hours that I have. And that's not right.
It's not right.
If they should have, you could do it that way. Like, if maybe you don't have money and, like, you have in-game currency, so you play that way to try and get something, but there should also be that same item always available for the set market value that it is.
And the other thing is too, is that they do, I don't know how Obami does this as well. They do it in shards sometimes. So like the birthday event is, you can do this and you can get shards. And how they get you too is they'll have random times. This SS card is free it's like if you log in for 12 days. Okay, great. But what happens if you didn't get the game or get it in the timeline that it happened and now you're logging in on day 12? You're never going to get that card.
Yeah, or if you just come in, you're a brand new player. This is like with me, I was super late to a lot of these games, like Obey Me and Mr. Love. Mm-hmm. I just felt left out and like I'm so far behind in this never-ending story that I didn't even want to play it. Like, it's just a turn off to me. So that's why I really don't understand why these games are so popular, because you guys, these games make a boatload of money. Like, Obey Me makes an average of $1 to $2 million a month.
And from what
singular month.
Comments, people are like, there's no story to it. There's not a lot of romance to it. And it's like, well, then what are you playing? But you're playing, and I get it. Like the lore of the story is this intense thing, but it's like it's not going.
But it's not leading to anything. Yeah. Like I don't understand. And so I guess
Pretty Little Liars. You know how like Pretty Little Liars, like think about it like that.
Yeah.
Pretty Little Liars starts and you're like, oh, this is interesting. Like this is gonna go, and then they change and you're like, I don't even know where the story is going at this point.
And at a point you're like, I don't have the time for this. This is like consuming my life watching the show that isn't even that good now. Like
and they give you a lot of free stuff because that's how it gets you to be like, I'm gonna keep in this game and then I'm gonna spend the money, like, and then you do.
Yeah, because the whole appeal of an otome game, a classic otome game, is that it's centered around you and you get to romance a variety of characters, and there's endings for all of those characters. Why has it now become way more popular amongst consumers as well to just have these gacha games? Like, I don't get it. And that's part of the reason we wanted to do this too, is to open a line of communication with you guys and understand, because I know some of you guys play it. We've gotten comments I think when we did our Mr. Love trailer, somebody said they spent $2,000 on Mr. Love and didn't even get everything that they wanted or something like that. And I just feel bad. Like, that's a rent check.
The otome games too, because so if you know us, we love Sanrio. I mean, it's insane.
Oh yeah, that's true.
There's
we should
no
talk
way.
about that because that was awful. They even got us to spend like $20 like that one day.
We downloaded this game as soon as it was like where you design the room, you get to see all the characters go by, make these friends, and we're like, okay, and you get to design your room, and immediately it's a gotcha. Like, it's not even like they hesitate. They're like, oh, you can have these free rolls, and they give you a bunch of free stuff at first. So now you're like, oh my gosh, there's
but if you're bored, which we were that day,
we played.
We ran out of all of our free stuff very quickly and did not get everything that we wanted.
And so what happens is they're like, you can join the Strawberry Club. You and I searched to figure out how to join the Strawberry Club for like an hour and a half, and then it finally pops up and says you have to spend $500 a month. In
real money, not in-game currency. You have to have spent $500 for that month, and then you will be a member of the Strawberry Club.
$500 a month is $6,000 a year. And so when you do these gotcha things, to understand how like the gambling works, you are going to get spin for these events. And if you've played like Obey Me or any of these games, what happens is they have more abundancy of the rare cards to pop up. So you're going to get that one card, that one item, like way more times than you would get the special item, because statistically they have it broken down that it's only going to pop up 0.1% times within those rolls. So
that's what's even more annoying is you get repeats.
A lot.
I feel like they should take, if you're going to do it that way, you keep getting repeats. That's just awful. That makes your chances are never going up the more you play. Whereas if your chances went up the more you play, then it's like, I guess somewhat worth the investment. Still not, in my opinion.
And how can they get you? At least like remember in Utano Pri, they're like, if you spend 150 of the diamonds, you're at least guaranteed one SSR card. But if you, there's no way to say it's a new card, because you could already have that card and you can get that a bunch of times. You don't think that the device knows that you've gotten it. They're going to spin one that you already had and give that to you more times than not.
Yeah.
And that's what gets me, because it's like, or in Mr. Love, they do the shards thing, and that's what kills me, because to get an SSR card, to have the mini shards, you need 80 shards. 80 shards. They give you one every so often, so it's like you're waiting for that, and you're never going to get it until you get the shards. Or the timeline passes. You have no guarantee that they're going to do the event again, and it's not like they would do the event like a week later or 2 months later. It's like a year later they're going to do that event again, possibly.
Yeah.
And you're hoping that you're into the game still.
And like, what's the point of these events? Like, I love specials and I love side stories. That's like, we both love that. We created a bunch of them for our own game. But the thing is, if you don't have that initial main story complete, I don't see the appeal.
To me, I think one I would say that they did, like, it's like you guys go off on this beach vacation, but within the storyline that's happening, that doesn't seem correctly that would happen. Like, the world is
because the world's ending, so
so why would I be like, and it's not in the same timeline,
and maybe
it seems like in a different universe.
Maybe Obey Me's a little different. Like, full transparency, me and her tried to play it, and we just got so bored every single time, because it's just like, it feels like you're in a tutorial for a freaking hour. I never see a point on which I'm somehow gonna get on somebody's route. It just doesn't like
you guys have said that, like, there's not, like, it doesn't seem that
From
way.
what I've heard, it seems like there is not a route, but yet it's people spend money on that every single month. So maybe we're missing something and it gets good after like 5 hours of playing it, which we just don't have 5 hours to wait for it to get good.
Yeah, because the fandom, I will say that's the only thing that ever makes me intrigued to look at it. The fandom itself is hilarious.
That's why we've tried to re-pick it up like 3-4 times.
Because we saw one where somebody in the fandom made like the McDonald's meal with all of the
and
guys.
It was so good. Like, I thought it was real, and I was like, oh my gosh, they're actually doing an Obey Me thing in McDonald's in Japan. And then I showed it to her, and then we looked in the corner,
and they were like, please don't sue me, this isn't real. And I was like, oh, maybe it is interesting, but apparently it's not. And their biggest appeal, which everyone I don't think they have it where the gender is decided. So it's a faceless, and there's no gender, which is great. Like, you could be a boy, you could be a girl, you could be non-binary, which is awesome, because that's something that we're even looking to not isolate it around one type. But if there's no romance to the story or there's just no linear storyline, it does not interest me personally, because then I get bored. And that's actually what happened with Mr. Love well before, like I think it was like a year ago. I was just like, ugh.
Yeah, you were super into it for a couple of months, and then you kind of teetered off, and then now you just don't like it at all.
I bought the VIP $3.99 for a month thing, and I was like, yeah, like I'm getting it, like yes, but it was not a mode.
Yeah, it's like you don't get anything. You really don't get anything from it. That's the thing. The monetary value of these things is absolutely nothing. Like with the dress-up games too, you're like, oh, I got this cute virtual outfit. For what? Like, I just don't...
You did this for what?
Don't understand. Like, I don't mean to shame anybody who like is super into that, but I just don't understand. If you could explain to me why it's worth spending hundreds of dollars on these games, and then yet on other games, like, you feel like... This is the thing we wanted to get into, is like, we feel like it's also harmful because technically the games are free to play. Mm-hmm. So then we, as otome makers ourselves, get compared because we're like, well, yours isn't free to play. You have to pay $4 for a story of real money. And it's like, we get chewed apart for that. But it's like, you're spending hundreds of dollars over there.
And you don't even, I think that a lot of the time that they don't realize it, like you, in your mind, it's like, I haven't spent 99 cents. It's like a 99 cents adds up. And
maybe it's just like younger kids that have stumbled across our app that don't have money. They should not even be on our app at a point.
Yeah.
And
it's just, it baffles me though, because it's like, I think to me, I would prefer like a dress up game. If I'm going to do a dress up game, I'll pay for the full game outright. But that's me.
Yeah, like the Princess Party game. I don't know if you guys have heard of that on this list.
She was like, you're addicted to that one.
Princess Party, you get all these furniture items, all these outfits. It's all included in the game. You don't have to like nickel and dime yourself for and have events and stuff and time.
Because to me, what I would preferably do is like if all those cards, because that's what the other thing I feel like attracts people is the amount of content that is pumped out by this. Is you're getting all these photos, you're seeing your character that you love. Like I'm not gonna lie, like Gavin, Bay, like look at his characters design. Victor, Bay, like that's
Tears of Themis, we played a little bit of that, but their designs are awesome too.
Yeah,
like
I'm
it's
a Lucian
really good.
stan, but like, I can appreciate a good looking guy. But I think that's what it is. You get all of these photos and you're like, I want to see all of that. But the idea is like, if they gave me this photo with a date, like the epilogues in Voltage where it's $2.99 for a 3-chapter story and you get a photo, I'm gonna pay that $3.99 for the full thing and get a full experience.
Yeah.
Because to me, it's worth it. Versus you're not paying just $2.99 for it. You're hoping that you get it. And the other thing is that I think that's what I don't like. That's kind of teetering on like too much gacha is there's 3 photos linked to one date, and that is wild because you're spending. If you get the R card of it, you got the date. If you got the SR card, you got the date. If you got the SSR card, you got the date.
I'm confused by that. So are you saying they need to get all 3 cards before they can get the date, or it's just any one of these 3 cards you can get the date and you can be done?
You can be done, but the problem is that people want the SSR card of it. So
Why?
if you get the R card, you're not getting
Can't
the
you
phone
literally
call or
just
the
look
text.
it up? Like it's
You could definitely.
I don't get what the
do
point
that.
is. I guess they're more powerful to get through the main story to have an SSR.
But you only can use 3 at a time. You can't use all of them.
Yeah.
I'm not saying like if I like the design, I want the card. Okay, yes. Like, but
it's like not a physical card. I'm just so confused.
You don't get additional stuff from it. So it's like if let's say I have card A, B, and C, and they all are linked to the one date. If I get card C but not A and B, cool. And it took me a while to figure that. I didn't know that.
So you thought you had to get A, B, and C.
Yeah, so I thought you had to get A to get the date. But like you have to get A to get the phone call to the date.
That's the other thing about these things. They're so confusing. Like it's so not user friendly. You get hardly any content from it. I just don't understand how they're making millions of dollars a month.
And you can time it. You can time the call or the date itself, and it's max because it's not multiple chapters. It's at best like 2 minutes and 45 seconds.
Yeah, so market value, being generous, market value is like $2.99 for something of that length.
Yeah.
So I don't understand how people can spend thousands.
And you're getting the card and you have to level it up. So when you're leveling the card up, that costs you to go through the game. And if you run out of stamina, you spend your diamonds or your gems to then add stamina, and that's gonna cost you in the end. And that's what gets me. Like, Uchino Pri, I feel like, was the worst of this because like you didn't even get dates. You were just hanging out with the person, and
that is outfits. The worst. Like, come on.
Kind of like fell off. I literally have Uchino Pri, like the console games. The night and there's such a difference in between what you're doing in that game because you have to do regulatory stuff and like the cost for this and how much you would spend in that game, it's like not even matching. Like I would do all of that stuff for this game, pay the $40 it costs.
I feel like the worst part too is it's such a cheapened experience compared to the console games. So people who are console players don't even want to give mobile games a shot because they're like, all mobile games are just cash grabs.
That's it.
Because they are. Like 99% of the otome games that I see out there today that are really popular and really successful are literal cash grabs. Like there's no actual effort, heart, or soul put into the romance between you and a character.
It's not.
And that's what I thought people liked otome games for. Maybe I'm wrong. Like that's what we wanted to ask you guys in the comments, like from this segment of the video, is why do you play these games? Is it genuinely like exciting and you're sucked in by the vice of the gambling kind of atmosphere? Or is it just that there's not enough options, like the kind of style that you like and the kind of stories that you like, there just isn't available to have a one and done price for that?
Do you like that storyline that they're giving out? Like,
or do you like not being finished? Like, it's kind of, I guess, like a manga in a sense, because it just keeps going and going and going.
But even a manga gives you more. Like,
manga gives you way more.
Understand what you're doing. Like, this is like, you don't really know where the end is going to ever happen. You can genuinely...
Do you like being strung along for money? Because that's what's happening.
That's what it is happening. And that's because Gacha is almost, to me, is almost as bad as microtransactions. I do want to talk about microtransactions.
Gacha's worse because it's both. It's microtransactions, and then on top of that,
you're not getting anything.
Yeah, you're not getting anything.
Because a microtransaction that's a good microtransaction, like, I don't want to say good.
It's not even good.
A microtransaction that at least you can say you know what you're getting is like Clash of Clans are microtransactions because it's like you're getting it, but at least you're getting the in-game currency of it to get like this. Or like, what's another microtransaction is Gardenscapes, Homescapes.
I'm pretty sure Genshin Impact is. The real microtransactions that we're talking about that we despise are like a Shall We Date game, which obeying me is Shall We Date. Like premium choices. So it's like you get to a point in the story and they're like, you can't continue unless you buy one of these two items. One of these items is going to cost you probably about $2 in real money. The other item is probably going to cost you about $35 in real money. The $35 item, like, you get the better ending. The little $5 item, you get kind of a bad ending.
Like other ones that are like microtrans, like the episode storytelling app is that like they have the premium choices.
It's just straight robbery.
And it makes the story worse if you don't choose it, and it's like you don't complete it correctly, and I don't think that that's fair. And the thing is I like one set price. And let me tell you, like, it kills me because I know what I'm getting. I'm getting the full experience. I'm not going to get premium one thing or the other. It's one set price, and I know what it is. Like when they have the ticket system, you have to buy more tickets. You're not going to just have one set thing.
They're consumable. They're not non-consumable.
And the same thing like with Little Baby and stuff. Like if you start over, you're not getting like a romance more. You're like, I'm not nostalgically living. It's like, why would you wouldn't go back to the end. No. You're only going forward to nothing. And it's hard because we get comments more often than not, like, why isn't our game free? And I just want to explain, like, if we gave it away for free, we wouldn't be in business. That's one. To ask us to say, like, can you just do premium choices? We don't like them.
It's so against our morals. Like, it's just so against our morals. And I can't speak for everybody's financial situations, of course, but we really do try to make our games affordable.
Yeah, so $4.99 per route. We even have we have options from 99 cents. We try to give as much available to test things out. That's something that people always comment, and I wish people would stop saying, like, it's only one chapter free, the rest is to pay for. We
told you that up front. It's not like, and then they give us 1 star for that. They're like, oh, because of that, it's a 1 star. But it's like, what?
We never said it wasn't.
I know.
It says it when you download in-app purchases. Like,
the first thing in the description says that's how we operate.
It
like,
me.
It just
and people do say that, like, it should be free. And I wish people would stop saying that because we can't do, like, it's not going to be free. It's not. We give you 13 chapters of a main story, all these specials for this small price.
It's never free. It's like you either do it one way, you be straightforward and you price things at a fair market value, or you make it free, but then you have a bunch of overpriced, sneaky ways taking advantage of people's urges of gambling and stuff like that to make money. Obviously, we'd make way more money if we chose the second option, but we're not going to do that. Like,
and I don't want to.
And I feel like part of it is like maybe just educating consumers and having them understand like that they're getting robbed. Because I haven't seen anybody talk about how gacha games are bad.
Yeah, because it's the only option they have. And if you've played the games and you're like, I've never spent a dime, I can promise you're not anywhere near as far as anybody else.
And you don't really have anything. Like, you just have a bunch of like free content.
Basically. And if you're waiting, and that's the thing. If you feel like waiting, then that's fine. You can do that. But and then the other thing, like, oh, why don't you just put ads? The amount of money that it would cost for as many ads as we would have to run, it's not right.
It's
I don't worth like it. And the other thing is it's not like we have artists, like you're telling us that our artists don't deserve to get paid and that we should just do like it costs that much because it takes us hours to do it. And it's not a lot.
Yeah, it doesn't just take us hours. I mean, it takes us like years. Like all of this building the business has been a very, very long time coming, and we work every single day.
And I don't want us to come across like we're coming at you. Like if you don't want to pay for it, we can't. I'm not gonna force you. I don't want.
But don't rate it 1 star because things cost money in this world. You can't go into a bookstore and like yell at them for charging $11 for the manga you wanted.
You don't come at Apple when you get a new phone. You're not like, I want the phone for free. We would love it for free. If we could have everything for free, then that would.
If the world was free, that would be a different scenario.
That would be different.
Like everything costs money. If you want to go get a taco, you're going to be spending like $3. If you want to go get a coffee, you're going to be spending like $5.
It costs money to just make everything run, and it's just not fair to ask for things to say that it should be free.
We feel like we thought we were giving exactly what the ideal situation would be.
So why do you guys
feel like the gacha style is better?
And why do you think that like all games should either have premium choices or be microtransactions and give you the option to be free because you just absolutely don't want to pay? We can have we want to have the open dialogue with our consumers in the comments and people that have been fans and following us. What makes you want to ask like this should be a completely free option? Because when we have been asked before, like, can you just give premium choices? I know for a fact you're not going to choose those premium choices. You just ask me to do it so that it's an option to get out of it.
Yeah, it's very bold. People are bold.
It's kind of funny to me sometimes. All of those people that have been there since day one, we appreciate every single thing that you do.
Yeah, and there is way more positive than negative, but the percentage of negative is a lot higher than the percentage of negative that we see on these gacha games. So that's why we were confused.
And that's why we're coming. It's like we're not telling you have to spend your money on our game because if you don't want to, you know what I mean? Saying like we know off the bat when certain comments were like they weren't gonna spend money on our game in the first place. Like that's what's gonna happen. We know that. We just want to know like what makes you do that, and also just telling people to stop being so aggressively mean, like being like you have to do this. Like
it's like walking into a restaurant and expecting it to be a food kitchen that's like a free food kitchen and getting super irate that it's not, even though it clearly had the menu with all the prices on the door.
Yeah.
So that's what just. Like we won't get into it much more because I know we're like rambling.
Yeah, but we do take the constructive criticism. There's things that we've changed that I think that like one thing I like that somebody did was the menus. That was such an eye opener to us because we didn't ever consider.
Yeah, somebody commented on our Twitter account, I think it was, and they were like, "I think you should only have like these 3. The one that we have now, it's like story selection." And it made because at first we were like, I don't know, but then as soon as they did it, we're like, you know what? I can totally see why that's misleading or confusing in a sense. Yeah, because if it's gonna make the game easier to play, we always want to do that because we don't like things that are confusing for newcomers.
But yeah, so
that was that on that.
But so maybe I think that's like really what we wanted to talk about today was that, and now we can.
Yeah. So how you been?
God, this year 2020 was crazy, but 2021 has actually been a lot wilder. It's like the last thing I remember us saying the last video was that. You know, we're going to take a break for ourselves. 2020 ended so insane because we were running with like a chicken with our heads cut off. 2021 got like immensely crazy.
I didn't think it could be possible for this year to be worse. But it did.
I
got fired like 2 weeks ago, you guys.
That was insane.
That was a joy.
Then we go and make all of these calls and the game is too large. And then the sizing issue,
which is why it's taken so long.
That broke us too. But then we doing the voice acting, we have to split all of this up. Editing was so like, it was...
Have you ever line by line cut somebody's conversation that's like 20 minutes long?
It's awful.
And they have multiple takes.
And then the previous hero, he decided he's going to go in a different direction. So we're like, okay, let's.
Yeah, that happened this year too. It feels like we've always had Joe, but that's like super recent.
I've always liked Joe's voice, and like I just randomly was like, what if we just got Joe? And then he was available, thankfully, and Joe
literally the whole thing with Mr. Love happened, and it was like it coincided with us wondering if he would even have availability to do it. And it just was like divine timing.
He's so nice, and then he killed like all of that content with like in an hour and a half. He killed it, like hit for hit, bar for bar.
I've never seen somebody record that fast.
Yeah, he just got into it. I was like, wow. And so he would like that was super cool. I've seen, if you guys don't know, if you don't know Mr. Love at all, and you don't know who Joe DJ is, he is in the Fire Emblem game. And he's Claude.
Yeah, he was Claude in the Fire Emblem games, which is what he first like became popular for. But then within our community, it's more so people know him now from Gavin.
And he's super, he's awesome. So,
but his voice files are no longer in the game, right?
Yeah, Mr. Love is that's a whole nother convo for a whole nother day.
Yeah, that should be a whole nother podcast.
That's another BS. But yeah, he was so professional, but he was so awesome. So if each of you ever see this or anybody says that you're in it, like, thank you for joining our game. I'm so glad that we have you as an addition. I can't wait to continue the relationship as heroes. So if you have not did not know, the voice of Gavin Josija and the voice of Claude from Fire Emblem is now as Hero the lead of our game. But yeah, so that happened.
Yeah, that's nice. We're going to be recording with Kaiji soon because he is going to be manager's voice.
If you don't know Kaiji, if you've never, he played a version of Vegeta. He's also Gojo. He's the lead kind of.
That's what most people know him from currently.
Yeah.
But he's been in the game for a long time.
He's been in the game for a long time, so super excited. But all of that happening, plus we almost got scammed when we were doing the cloud stuff, and then we
got scammed by the first person. We were like, I think it was
scammed
mid-June that we thought it was going to be done.
It was intense.
He kept us on the edge all the way to we basically were about to supposedly release it being online, and he was like, it can't be done.
It can't be done. And so when I say that when I say that our heart and soul is into doing this stuff, I thought I went back into another dark space. So last year when the game was getting built and how we really just came together with that, and all of those times I had a breakdown with that, I was back in that mode in a very bad spot about that.
Yeah, so because she's our technical lead, she felt responsible, but as you guys know, technology is such a huge umbrella. It only makes sense for you to have a portion of that covered. So we needed somebody who specialized in online.
It just drains you. And so we're doing all of this. And so on top of that, we're both at that point working full time and just not having a break, no days off. That's what stopped us from filming, because I could not justify filming a video but not working on the game and editing and doing all of that, cutting all the content, doing all that.
And trying to figure out getting the developer that we have now.
And so I broke down in tears. And so all of that just with our company is going on. Let's talk about regular life.
Yeah.
So I don't know if we'd mentioned in the last video, so we had to move. So
we're in a new location. Did we even talk about the fact that our set and everything?
We got an awesome new house. Love our new place. We both have. It's a blessing for that purpose. But we were moving, and that was intense. We basically found a house within 3 weeks of moving, and so that had to go. We were moving, and that was intense. And so we were thinking, okay, let's take a break. Maybe we can film. And then my grandmother passed away. She passed away, and that really just threw my life into. That's the first time that something's happened where the world continues but my world stopped, and I was just not in a good place, and I kind of you just have to keep going. That's the worst part, is nothing stops.
And I feel for you especially just didn't want to stop.
No,
it just made it worse.
When I'm sad or in that, I just want to keep going and keep pushing. And my family, my family's so intense with all of that, so going through that, and then a month, I feel it's just the next, I blink and then a month passes and I'm like, what?
Yeah, then that's when we got scammed.
Scammed.
And then what happened in July? I guess we got Joe. Recorded that. We were just basically buried in work.
And this is the first time we haven't been supremely. Now we're working on our secret route. I almost said his name.
Thank God you didn't. That would have been awful.
Manager's route. I'm so excited.
This is the best work we've ever done. Yeah, we shouldn't really say anything.
He's coming soon. Kaiji's going to be the voice of manager. Literally almost said his name again. It's got to stop. I'm just so used to calling him by his actual name. But and then you losing your job in life, it just never lets up. I feel it's just one thing after another. My job was giving me issues. It's a lot we've been going through in personal life, in our business, and they just kind of go hand in hand, because our personal life is our business.
But we're getting to an actually really good place, and I feel our business is actually going to be profitable and good by the end of the year, which was why it was so unfortunate that I lost my job, because I was planning to quit anyways as soon as that happened. But now I have to find basically a whole nother career style job, because if it needs to pay what I was paid before, then it has to be a career level job that I'm gonna have for maybe 4 months if all goes according to plan.
Yeah. So we miss you guys, but it is 2021.
That's what's been going on with us.
Really beat our ass.
Yeah.
No punches held
back. We
back.
came in so excited too, because we were 2020's over, it's gonna be amazing, and it just wasn't.
We're still in the middle of a pandemic.
It still sucks in Arizona.
I hate living here.
Did you know if you're on unemployment, they only give you 4% of your prior wage while you're looking for a job? 4%.
Has on the website that says get to work.
Yeah, it said Doug Ducey said get to work.
Thank you, Mr. Governor. I hate your salary, but thank you. Oh my gosh. But yeah.
Can't wait to move. That's the first thing we're doing, honestly, even though we just moved.
Moved.
That's our other thing, is we've been saying moved.
going to probably do this because it gives it, we're more relaxed and we can do it this way, and it's more like things that we'll be talking about. We have other reviews that we want to talk about, like other Voltage games that have come out in between this time that we want to talk about. We definitely still are going to do boy ranks. Like, that's all coming, but we just wanted to like come back, talk about a topic that we're like so passionate about.
Yeah, as you guys could probably tell, I hope we weren't too angry, but like it makes us angry.
It makes me angry though, because I don't want consumers, like players, when I see them, especially because they're also our customers, I don't want you guys to be spending $2,000 to get a photo. That's not fair. You deserve better than that.
Yeah, that really made me sad when I saw that someone spent $2,000. Like, that's so much money. It makes us want to produce
content so that you know what your like value in it is, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it makes us want to say, like, I want to produce some more special, so that in the same style of special that you're getting, the more content, you're getting what you're actually paying for.
Yeah, you guys actually think about what you're like gambling for or like rolling gacha for. What is the actual market value of that? Like, what is that actually gonna do for you? How long are you going to be entertained for spending hundreds of dollars?
And you're going to get entertained for 2 minutes and 45 seconds, or could you spend $2.99 on a special that's 3 chapters you can read over and over again and remember, like, oh, I love this special.
Yeah.
Like, I love these.
Then it's like you buying a book that you can reread like over and over again because you enjoy the book. Yeah, so
that's what I feel. And so that's what we were just trying to say.
And we want to know anything you guys think on that. Please comment below. Comment below if there's other topics you want us to touch on. Oh, before we go, like new hot topics in the otome industry. 6 or 7 otome games got greenlit. Like a ton of them. And a bunch of them are from Idea Factory.
Oh, we're going to talk about that.
And that's going to be our next episode.
That's going to be our next episode, talking about Idea Factory and how we'll just get into it.
Yeah, we'll get into it there. Like, not necessarily a negative. This is more of opinion piece. Like, they're not scamming anybody by any means, like these gacha companies are.
They just are formulaic.
We just feel that it's gotten stale.
And we're going to talk about that and why it's formulaic and how you can literally spot that the game is pretty much the same all across the board. And a new game that's the thing that I've been playing and I want to share with you is like Best of
Fellows. Yeah.
So that's the deal. That's where we're at with it. We hope you guys enjoy this. And yeah, comment below. I know we haven't done like high tea in a long time. You guys ask us questions.
We'll probably add that segment into Latte Foam Podcast. Yeah. Like, we'll probably start doing some of those kind of things in here.
So ask questions. You know, we miss you guys. Comment.
Anything you want to say below. Your voice will be heard. We read everything.
And something else I can't wait for us to do, we're going to talk about again, is we're going to talk about Latte Foam Investigates again and bringing back Toki to Bunker, because we've just seen it again and we just want to talk about
that video has grown like triple since we first released it, and like so many people have commented on it, like, I get ads for this every day, like, what's going on?
Yeah, so we want to talk
we don't really have a major update, but we can just probably add something into a podcast,
add something so that you guys just know like what like some more tea about that. But yeah, so, and if you have some other ones you want us to do some Latte Foam Investigates on, please comment, let us know, because we like
because there are whenever there's a business that's new, hot, and lucrative, shady business people get involved, let me tell you.
Shady boots.
All right, guys, well, this has been us.
Talk to you guys later.